Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Crossbeats Production.
What's going on? You're here with LA-2A and this is Crossbeats Production. So I want to show you guys a bit about, why you choose certain compressors for certain applications and how people come to these conclusions and why most people usually tend to lean towards LA-2As for vocals and single instrument type things. So the LA-2A, if you guys aren't aware, it was created back in the 1960s for broadcast and telecommunication broadcast, or even radio broadcast and things like that. It tended to use it. They were using it as a leveling amplifier, and it was to get basically to stop, in essence, stop anything that was peaking and kind of control the voice or the vocal or whatever it might have been. So the bit of history behind the LA-2A, it pretty much, just so you guys understand how it works, I wanted to just kind of bring this to your attention. So the way it does things is a single, obviously the gain dial here and the reduction dial there. Basically, the response time is quite fast. So if you're looking at attack times, it's essentially instantaneous. It's actually really fast. From my understanding, it's based on a sort of a light, tube light, which activates the attack, and that's how it knows to attack on the signal. The release time is actually in two stages. So it forms a first part of the release, which is 50% of the release, and that's almost instantaneous as well. So it's a 0.06 seconds, as you can see down here. And then the second stage is from 0.5 to almost 5 seconds in full release, and that's depending on obviously the amount of the previous reduction. So this is actually the manual or the instruction manual off the Teletronix LA-2A leveling amplifier. So I just sort of bring that to your attention so you guys understand kind of why this compressor sounds the way it does, and I guess the purposes of its use in production. So I'll go to vocal here. I want to show you what the vocals sound like without any compression, and then I want to show you guys in Studio One in the latest update how you guys can set up some compression of your own if you don't have this leveling amplifier as a compressor that you would already have in your stock tools. So let's go. I'll just play the vocal and show you what that sounds like first, and then I'll set up the compressor here, which I've preemptively set up anyway. I'll show you how that sounds as well. So I'll play this one first with this vocal on its own without any compression.
Slow motion is how I saw you walking in like that. You took my side view.
Alright, cool. So that's Gabrielle Brie. It's off her new track called Clouds. Well, the actual song's called Clouds, and that's off her new album, which will be coming out soon. So just look out for that. It's on the Down Under label group, by the way. So any props to them. So this compressor here, it's the LA-2A, which I'll just put that on the vocal, and then I'll play with it and without it, just so you guys can hear what it's doing.
Slow motion is how I saw you walking in like that. You took my side view. Slow motion is how I saw you walking in like that. You took my side view. One look at you and my mind erased. No doubt it's your love that I crave. Once again.
Cool. So that's pretty much the LA, and that's how it sounds LA-2A on a vocal. This is a pretty good emulation of it, I must admit. UAD did a pretty good job. It's not exactly perfect, and it doesn't sound exactly the same as the hardware, and each individual hardware would sound different anyway, especially because the older hardware, it had to be maintained over a certain period of years to keep it working. Now they're starting to release more of these under that Teletronix name again anyway. They've been doing it for a while, but nonetheless, so let's set up another compressor and see what we can do to achieve this same kind of sound with this stock compressor in Studio One. And then I'll put this FET compressor, which is the new compressor out of the most recent update. So I'll just put that on after. We'll just do this one first. So let's play the vocal and we'll see what we can do.
Slow motion is how I saw you Walking in like that, you took my side view. One look at you and my mind erased. No doubt it's your love that I crave.
So that sounds pretty good. The way I set this up is pretty much using the attack and release times of the actual tempo of the song. So the tempo of this track is 142. You won't obviously hear anything else other than the vocal, but that's what the tempo is. So I set the attack time to be the 0.26 milliseconds and a 211 millisecond release. So again, I've shown you guys this before, and this is basically a calculator which you type in the delay calculator for reverb, but it can be used for compression as well. And I used the attack time of 1/64th and the release time of 1/8. So that's the note release and the attack time on this track that I've used this compressor on, and it kind of achieved a really good sound. There's two things that I'll just bring your attention to as well. This is the look ahead function here, which allows the compressor, I should say, to look ahead to know when the transients are coming in. So that's a faster way of detecting transients. And the other thing is it's got an adaptive release as well. So if you turn that off and you turn this off, it might sound a bit different. I'll just quickly play it.
Slow motion.
You can see here it peaks a bit more because it's not detecting the transient as fast. So I've turned that back on.
Slow motion.
So it's still peaking a bit. We'll put the adaptive back on. Let's go.
Slow motion. It's how I saw you.
So if you use those two features there, it pretty much controls the vocal. It controls it more like a limiter, and also sounding a bit more like the LA-2A that we were just talking about earlier. So that's the stock compressor in Studio One. Now let's just see what the actual supposedly emulation of the LA-2A sounds like. This is more like a tube comp. I guess it's optical. I don't know if they've designed it to be like that or not, but it looks a lot like the LA-2A to me. So let's let's see what it sounds like, because it's worthwhile just giving it a go and seeing if we can get some decent stuff out of this. So let's try that out now.
Slow motion. It's how I saw you. Walking in like that, you took my side view. One look at you and my mind erased.
Sounds alright. I don't know. It really doesn't do the compression levels of the LA-2A or even close to it. I guess you could use this as an alternative if you are desperate and you need something that'll work in essence sounding similar. But it definitely has this weird sort of compression that goes on with the release. Anyway, I don't know what it is, but let's try it on limiter mode and see how that works.
Slow motion. It's how I saw you. Walking in like that, you took my side view. One look at you and my mind erased. No doubt it's your love that I crave.
Yeah, anyway, so I just thought I'd show you guys, I guess, the compressor that just recently came on the most recent update for Studio One. The other one, the FET, which I think probably sounds better than that other tube thing that they made in here. I'll just set this up so I can get it to kind of sound similar. Let me just see if I can work on this vocal as well.
Slow motion. It's how I saw you. Walking in like that, you took my side view. One look at you and my mind erased.
That sounds pretty good, to be honest. So we'll just go with it out and with it in.
Slow motion. It's how I saw you. Walking in like that, you took my side view. One look at you and my mind erased. No doubt it's your love that I crave.
Yeah, so that kind of works alright. I mean, if you're looking for something that works basically similar to the LA-2A, I reckon this is probably closer to it. This is more like a 1176 type compressor, but it does what it does good. At least you can change the attack and release times a bit, and gives you a bit more, I guess, accuracy in the sound of it. But yeah, so I just want to show you this and kind of explain to you the history of the LA-2A as well. I haven't really gone into too much depth of that, but basically it does have a pretty unique history as far as the way it worked and things like that, and the fact that in its time as well, it was quite advanced for the type of compressor that you would expect to be using. So if you guys are looking for a compressor for vocals, for a bass, or even anything, you could put it on a full mix if you wanted to. You know, it definitely has its place within mixing, and it has a unique sound, and especially for vocals and things like that, you definitely want to grab this type of compressor. So yeah, so this is the UAD version of it. If you guys know there's a Waves version, I'm sure there's a couple other brands that make it as well. I'm not boasting on UAD, I'm just showing you the UAD version of it. And by the way, this is the legacy version, so there is another newer version out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and it gives you an understanding of at least the LA-2A and why people use it on their vocals and their mix and things like that, and give you guys an understanding of that. So I'll catch you guys on the next one, and as always, peace.
Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Cross Beats Production.